it will be our speaker. But our speaker, he came to us. But we got Bach Rao here, who's going to be our next speaker on how to heal yourself mentally, you know, and with the mind, coming up next month. But this one's a good brother Nick. And we always have Lloyd every year. He comes every year. And so he invited Nick. I don't know who he was. But Nick a number man too. So when we asked him to speak, now this might be good for you, Sheila. He went into the numbers, the book of Numbers. He said the 22nd. Now this was a couple months ago. He said the 22nd is my number, and that he would be glad to come and speak. And what we try to do is actually bring in people, and people don't know. The small hats, all they do is run the world by numbers. They study numerology. And so what we haven't realized, the power in numerology is actually study it. Anything that's considered a deep science, a lot of times we run from. And I even say that when it comes to that movie Sinners. We don't see the African culture stuff inside that movie. So someone said, I can't go see it. Well, Dracula only can come in when you invite him in. And so that's what basically happened. But I would tell everybody to go see it because he puts a lot of cultural stuff in.
Right.
A lot.
Right.
And it goes over some people's head and it brings out the fear in other people. And so what happens is we have to learn to deal with our fears and see ourselves as successful people. But you've been here a while, brother. I got to give it to you. But you got to say, I am. And stuff like that. Nick, can you come on up? No. Sure. Do whatever you choose to do.
Hey, Ty, you got to send some information to the computer. You got to send some information.
Set up a couple of things, but thank you. I have a presentation, so it's probably be easy if I just send it to you and then open it up on there.
Oh, by the way, the young brother over here in the back is excellent when it comes to health remedies and stuff like that. And hey, Brother Albert, while he getting ready, speak for a couple minutes.
Yeah, tell us what you got, brother.
Yeah.
Me and my wife went down the house and we took his house over for about 3 hours.
Peace and love, everybody.
Hey, peace, brother.
My name is Paul Mel. I'm a spiritual advisor, certified herbalist. I'm just here to get people back on their path. They lost their way. And I use different types of healing modalities to do that. But herbs is the last thing I offer because we are soulful spiritual people. So maybe you just need to feed your soul to get rid of a disease. Or walk in another direction and fix your disease. Or have a conversation with X to fix your disease because trauma take form as a disease in your body. And this is the way your soul speaks through you, through trauma. So herbs is the last thing I offer, but they work like crazy. So I have all different type of herbal compounds depending on what you're dealing with. And I make a custom blend. So I have something for everything with that. And I also deal with sound frequency healing because right now, frequency beat our medicine, and that's what the hospital's catching up to, that sound heals us. And we already knew sound heals. We listen to music and it change our heart quick. It change how we feel about a situation quick. It get us out of the slump quick. So I use resonance healing. I have an Atera Care wand. He came and experienced it with his wife. And I blow hot air on you that shoots out terahertz frequency. And terahertz frequency vibrate at the same frequency our cells vibrate at. So it's a match. So it's speedy recovery. So you're dealing with body aches, inflammation, impurities in your blood, constant headaches, any skin elements, any internal issues. This wand actually will speed up your healing. Also have other devices over there. I have a scalar plasma gun. It's a black and yellow gun in the back. That right there shoots out plasma energy, and it's for anyone that has damaged nerves, numbness, arthritis, or if you want to just thicken and strengthen your aura. That shoots out like lightning bolts. And, we're spiritual people, so we feed off electricity, energy. Alright, so one main thing that I do is get rid of the parasites out of your body and do some level of exorcism. I can pull the parasite out your body through herbs. I have a parasite zapper in my book bag. I have testimonies, videos and pictures of me releasing parasites out of people. The next day, a few days later, they come out their anus or their vagina or wherever there's an opening that the parasite's gonna find to get out. So I terrorize parasites in my body. I found out 97% of the mass population diseases is the root cause of the parasite. You have a parasite in your pancreas, that's diabetes, because parasites eat at your beta cells. So diabetes is dying betas. Your beta cells are dying. Beta cells produce, they lower your insulin. They lower your sugar, so that's your insulin. So parasites eat at your beta cells, so your sugar don't get lower because they love sugar. Right? So if you have herpes, that's a skin lesion, parasites in your skin. You look at the etymology of herpes, they're going to say the word serpent or creepy crawl. And you look up what serpent is, it's going to say a large snake. It's a large snake to your cells in your body. To us, a parasite like a little microorganism, but to your cells, it's a large snake. So if you have like cataract, glaucoma, that could be a parasite in your brain. Trying to get it out, so it's going to bring the mucus. But parasites, they creepy crawlers, they little pestilence, they sneaky, they know how to hide in your body, in little pockets, and hide behind heavy metals in your body. So it's hard for your body to detect them, so mucus will come try to save the day, can't find them, so mucus just stay there. Then you get a film of mucus over your eye, and that's when you start getting cataract. You start going blind. And they call that, to me, I think it's type 4 diabetes, when the sugar that was all in here got all the way to your brain now. And the parasite's going to follow whatever the sugar is at. Alright, so you have liver failure. That could be a fluke worm in your liver. Okay, if you have, multiple cysts, fibroids. Fibroids is a mansion for a parasite. They literally will go inside you to create a cyst. They'll bite on something. They know the body gonna create a cyst over that, so whatever they damage don't spread, don't become cancerous. So a cyst will encapsulate that area. Then a parasite will live in that area because a cyst can hold on to toxic waste, and that's what a parasite needs to survive. They need an acidic environment to thrive. So they create cysts in you. So if you have multiple cysts or polyp, right? You have multiple cysts lining up in your passages, or you have multiple cysts in your canals or around your uterus. Those are parasites. Because any doctor that opened up a fibroid or a cyst, they found parasites and larvae. And a lot of people have fibroids and cysts because we're all infested with parasites. Everybody. You could get rid of them unknowingly. You'll eat, for some reason, so Spirit told you eat 2 salads 2 days in a row, and that was enough to get rid of some larvae eggs for you. You didn't even know. You didn't look at your bowel movement. So I have all types of people. I'm the poop guy, so everyone send me their poop. And I dissect it, I look in it, I can see all through it, through just a picture. And everyone got some type of parasites in them. So you could do some pumpkin seeds, papaya seeds. You could do some herbal blend, black walnut hull, some wormwood, some sarsaparilla, some oregano. Those will get rid of some creepy crawlers for sure. So if you see your diseases as a parasite, you'll get to the root cause faster and you'll speed up your healing. If you think herpes, if you just say, oh, I have herpes, you're never going to heal. What is herpes? You don't know what that is. If you call it a parasite, at least you know what you got. So the universe will start providing information for you to get rid of it. So you just got to get to the root cause, and that's what I do. I do free consultations, and we could build. I'm spiritual, so I deal with astrology. I like to figure out what people's signs is, because I have better communication skills with them after that. So I do constellations. If you want to get your superpowers back and know why you're here, you look at your natal chart. Your natal chart tells you your whole storyline, why you came here. What's your mission? What's your purpose? What you should be avoiding? What trauma you should be seeking for? Because trauma, we all need it. It's post-traumatic growth. You only grow through trauma. So, but some people fall in the wrong realm of trauma. You got to find what trauma fits you. We all here to feel some resistance. No one came here to be happy. This is not a planet to be happy. It's a planet to work on yourself, to release your sins. All right? We're here to release our sins. So that's why we fell in skin. You got to be a physical person to work on yourself to release what's been heavy on you. For some reason, we came here because our spirits is heavy. And we come here to get all that weight off us. So I'm just going to say, stop running away from your problems, lean into your fear, and get them parasites out of your body ASAP. That's my statement.
All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Good job. Good job.
You need to talk to Brian so we can bring you back for another day. One thing I want to offer you. I think we have over like 10 to 12 beds back here. Around about 10?
About 10.
I think there's a bed or so that's
He planted already. Didn't he plant some stuff back there?
Did you plant anything?
I didn't blame
Are you planting? Oh,
Well, today before you leave, because Brian was telling me there's a bed back there that ain't whatever. You need to plant what you want to plant. 4 foot by 8 foot, that's your best. Do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
And before I bring them up, so sustainably. POP. You have anything you'd like to share with people with the POP organization?
We're gonna have.
Come on up here. I can't bring them up and don't bring the sisters that have been up there supporting for a long time.
July. We're
Whatever.
gonna have Newark Pavilion. It'll be at 12 noon, 12 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's gonna be at their park, at the Gun Park. But I'll have the flyers.
But hold it. The Monday night or Thursday night meeting.
Well, we're not. Thursday night we have our regular park meetings
Mhm.
on Thursdays. The next one in terms of the group, the meeting for the post-convention, Martin Luther King convention, is gonna be next Monday night at 6 o'clock. We meet at Bethany Baptist Church.
And they even, what I'm going to do next time, I'm going to put on the Zoom link. So people, if they want to come through the Zoom link too.
Okay.
All right? And we need to hear it. This thing has been out there long. It's very interesting. We've been talking about Juneteenth. You got the new mythology.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, thank you.
No, thank you, my man. You get everything out your way.
Space.
Hey, Kyle, he sent you the thing, didn't he? He sent you this information.
That's it up there.
Oh, that's it. Okay. All right. Good. Okay.
Can you see it good or you want the light?
I can see it. What should I put the screen up there to it? Should I put the screen up there to it?
No, I'm saying it's better than this.
Yes, good. Everything's
Oh,
good.
put on full screen too. You'll click on the
Just
slide
come-
that, yeah. Go over here. Slideshow.
That'd be better.
Yeah.
It's my imagination like a fool.
That's good. It's good. It's good. Ron.
You want to turn it
Ron. I got it. I fixed it.
You got it?
Yeah.
What number you put on?
63. It's gonna be freezing in about an hour.
How's that, Brian? Good?
That's good. We got it.
Yeah,
that's
no
good.
reflection on the thing anymore. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Afternoon, bro.
Peace and blessings. Thank you to REFAL for having me and my colleague and elder in the metaphysical sciences, Brother Lloyd Strayhorn, for making the connection. He told me you got to get in here and start speaking and doing some lectures too. So I'm like, I have to listen to my elder, right? Have to listen to my elder. And just to acknowledge some of the folks out there, some familiar faces. I saw you all back in March when Brother Lloyd did his presentation. And we did some readings. I didn't know he was going to call me up to do readings after his talk. But yeah, he pulled me over to the back and had me do some readings for some of you all. And then, as Knowledge Born Allah refers to you, my sister Ruth, the Queen Mother, Jamila El Bay, thank you for coming and supporting me on my first in-person talk and presentation here.
Yeah.
Of course, the God Amel Rael back there, my brother from Neptune. We're both from Neptune. That's how we know each other. I can speak to his products and services. He's definitely helped me out with my with my health. I sent him my blood work. He went through. He picked out things and saw things that even the doctors weren't even talking about.
Right.
And he knew what herbs to prescribe. Got my lipid panel from the red to the green. So yeah, he's the real deal. He's definitely the real deal.
Yeah, that's all right.
With a consultation from the brother, he'll help you out. He'll help you out. So this presentation, this is the history and numerology of Juneteenth. So I'm going to include a little bit of history, but the emphasis, like Brother Kai said, I'm the numbers guy. So I'm going to show you the numbers that are connected to Juneteenth. We're going to address the hoax as well, the hoax of Juneteenth. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I don't know who's the eldest in the room, but whoever's the eldest in the room, permission to start the presentation.
I'm probably the eldest.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
It's always a good idea.
Yes. And this presentation is consecrated and dedicated to all of our ancestors and the descendants. Ashe. So as I mentioned, I'm from Neptune. I grew up in Neptune. I was born in Long Branch. I currently live in East Orange. And I'm a public school educator in Newark. I started out in the charter schools, and then I moved over into the district. So as of this coming Tuesday, the 24th, I will be completing my 11th year of teaching in Newark, high school English. Have seniors this year, our first graduating class at the Newark School of Data Science and Information Technology. So I'm currently at a school where the students are learning all about tech and how to program computers and data science and coding, all of these skills that are bringing us into the new world order. So it's very, very interesting. But I'm an English teacher, so I don't have a lot of knowledge on the cybersecurity and the tech things, but I break down my course as effective communication. I focus on 4 key skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And that's my foundation for teaching English and communicating effectively in this realm that we're living in and maneuvering in this world. As far as my numerology practice, I started that journey around 2017 as far as my independent study. I was first exposed to it, introduced to Brother Lloyd Strayhorn around 2015 through one of his students, King Simon, after attending an event in Brooklyn in which he gave a presentation on disaster preparedness and numerology. And for a while, I never subscribed to these metaphysical sciences. Neptune High School. I don't know if you remember Mr. Marr, biology teacher. Yeah. I had him in 10th grade, but he told the class one day, I don't even remember how we got on the subject, but he said, don't believe in that astrology stuff. It's all pseudoscience. So for a while, that was my mindset. I dismissed astrology. Never heard of numerology at that point. But I dismissed the astrology. I said, you know what? He's right. All of these zodiacs and horoscopes in the newspaper, they're just arbitrary descriptions that describe everybody. But years later, when I attended this event in Brooklyn hosted by King Simon, he pointed out that a lot of these elite people that are running the world are using these sciences, astrology and numerology. Your J.P. Morgans and your Walt Disneys and Ronald Reagan's had an astrologer in the White House. So I'm thinking, if these elite people are using this science, then maybe there's something to it. So that's when I opened my mind to learning these sciences, and I started with numerology because it's a much simpler science to learn. As Lloyd Strayhorn says often, if you're able to count on your fingers, you can do numerology. Astrology can get very complex and intricate between all the different houses and all the placements. You go through all the planets, you go through all the degrees. It's a very, very complex system, although I started the journey of learning astrology as well, but I started with the numerology. And numerology and astrology, they're related. You have numbers that rule over zodiac signs and planets and vice versa. So with my numerology practice in August of 2024, I established myself professionally as a numerologist. Up until 2024, I was using it as a tool to be more self-aware and to map out how I would maneuver through this world. Numerology helps you with timing, when to do certain things, when to look out for certain cycles. It's connected to the health, the numerology and health. It can give you insights of what to look out for, what to be aware of in terms of your health. So I was using it as a self-development tool, but in my excitement in sharing it with other people, people started asking me questions about their numbers. And then Lloyd Strayhorn, in August, he offered a professional certification course, which I signed up for. And at that point, upon completing that workshop, I decided to turn it into a business. So the business is still in formation, but I do have the name. So my business is called Supreme Numerics. And through that business, I do content on YouTube as far as numerology lessons, breaking down cycles, yearly cycles, monthly cycles, very similar to what Lloyd does when he comes and speaks about 2025, the themes of 2025, and when he does his one-on-one readings, he'll tell you about your personal year cycle. So I do much of the same that Lloyd does in that sense. As far as my consultations, I'll sit down with people. They'll send me their questions. If they have questions about their purpose or questions about what they should look out for in terms of their health, their finances, I answer questions about that. If they're seeing angel numbers, those repeating numbers, if you're seeing 111, 555, and things like that, I also assist people with decoding those numbers and what messages the universe is attempting to send to them. And my YouTube, I'm on YouTube as well, breaking down the numbers on my YouTube channel, Mr. Westbrook's Class. Also on Mr. Westbrook's Class, my sister Rue and I, we do unread book review every other Saturday where we each bring a book and we discuss it. The premise of the show is that we're discussing books that we either want to read, that we haven't read yet, that's why it's called unread, or books that we read a long time ago that we want to revisit. So that's our favorite thing to do, right? Talk about books. And I brought books with me, some of these books that I've referenced in putting together this presentation. And last but not least, on YouTube, I'm on a separate channel that I manage, DJ the Money Coach, where we get into the economics and the finance. A project that we're working on collectively right now, we're actually building a resort and real estate out in Zanzibar, Tanzania. So we own some land. So as a group, we own some land out there. We own a resort out there. There's about 60 of us, all melanated people, all black people. About 60 of us that have invested into this project. We actually have an investors meeting this evening that I'll be attending for those that are already invested in the project. So we're still raising money to build the resort. We
What's it called? I'm sorry.
The resort. The resort.
Oh well, it's in Zanzibar. So we have the Soul. That is a 22-unit building that we own. We're in the process of building the Pom Pom Lifestyle Resort. So that's going to be a luxury resort in Zanzibar. And as of right now, we're the largest American investors in Zanzibar. And not just black people, white people, just Americans in general. Everyone else that's invested in Africa and Zanzibar, they're Europeans and they're Chinese for the most part. Yes. So our program, Family Finance Friday, that's every Friday. And then we also have Bet on Black, the men, the family, the legacy, and also Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. Our men's panel, our women's panel where we discuss family, business, legacy, wealth building, principles, and things of that nature.
That's all on YouTube?
It's all on YouTube. And I have cards, so I'll pass out cards, and you can just scan the card, and it'll bring up everything, all of my links. Now, this is my disclaimer. So because we all, there's different perspectives of history, especially when it comes to slavery and Juneteenth and how we classify ourselves as melanated people. Whether we're classified ourselves or classified by other people, we've been classified as Black, African American, Hebrew Israelite, Moorish, African, Indigenous, Native American, American Indian. We have all these names that we've been classified by. But we're saying, regardless of how we've been classified, regardless of how we see or feel we got here in our history, whether millions of us came from Africa or whether we already here in America, if we originate here, we originate Africa, that's I won't say it's going to be irrelevant, but numerology is a metaphysical science, so we're mainly looking at this from a metaphysical standpoint, meaning that the masses of our people celebrate Juneteenth. Whether it's a hoax or not, our people are still celebrating it.
That's right.
So since they're celebrating it, since they're using the word Juneteenth and writing the word Juneteenth, we're still affected by it, whether it's directly or indirectly, whether we know it, whether we don't know it, we're still being affected by this energy of Juneteenth. The more that you do something or the more that you talk about something, it grows. The more you give attention to something, it grows. So you can go ahead to the next slide there, brother. Thank you. So on this agenda, I'm going to touch on the history a little bit, as far as the history of Galveston, Texas, the history of Texas becoming a part of the United States. And then we're going to talk about the Juneteenth holiday itself, and then we'll get into the numbers as far as what was the energy of June 19th, 1865, what was going on in the air, metaphysically, meaning what we couldn't see, taste, or smell, but how people were behaving. What was going on, what was in the air during that time. And then we'll talk about the numerology of Juneteenth in this present day, as well as the years prior and the years to follow, just based on the word Juneteenth. So as we know, we're indigenous to this entire world, but one early recorded African that was in the area of Galveston, Texas, was a brother named Esteban from Morocco around the 1500s. And he traversed that area with the Spanish explorers of that time. And he was described as a black Arab Muslim, but he eventually converted over to Christianity and was sold away to Spain. And the Spanish explorer Cabeza de Vaca wrote about Esteban, and he described him as a chief translator between Spaniards and indigenous people because of his talent for learning and speaking multiple languages, and he was renowned as a medicine man by the people he encountered. And the connection to Juneteenth is that 300 years later, in that same area, that same vicinity, that's where General Order Number 3 would be delivered, which was the hoax. So talking about Texas, just some general history about Texas. Stephen F. Austin, quote unquote, father of Texas, and I made this joke Thursday night when I did this presentation on YouTube. Stephen F. Austin, not to be confused with the wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin. So his objective was to turn. His objective was to turn that Mexican territory. It wasn't Texas yet, but his objective was to turn that Mexican territory into a southwest version of those southern cotton fields. So he was going to come over there with his white buddies. They was all going to go over to that Mexican territory and set up shop. But his fellow colonists, they needed that guarantee that they would have that labor, that African enslaved labor, to work the land, to cultivate the land, plant on the land, and build on the land. And if they didn't have that guarantee, they were going to be a bit apprehensive about coming to Mexico to set up shop and to build on that land. Now, the Mexican government, they didn't have any problem with these white colonists coming over there to colonize that land and build on that land. But they had an issue with slavery. They did not want slavery in that Mexican territory. So since they couldn't reach a compromise, those white boys in Texas, they went to war with the Mexicans, and they beat the Mexicans in that territory, and ended up setting up the Republic of Texas in 1836. So they would have that slave economy officially, because we know it continued past 1865, but officially on paper it would continue for 20 years until the Civil War ended, with General Order Number 3 following soon after. Now, the Texas Declaration of Independence. So Texas had their own Declaration of Independence, and they modeled it after Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence for America back in 1776. But there's one key difference. Now this is where I'm going to get y'all class participation here. There's one key difference between Jefferson's Declaration of Independence and the Texas Declaration of Independence. What do you all think was that key difference, except for Rue? Rue already heard this presentation, so you're not allowed to answer. So what do you all think? What do you think was the key difference between the Texas Declaration of Independence and the American Declaration of Independence?
The slavery issue, probably.
You're close. You're close.
The wording?
You said the wording?
Yeah.
It's related, related to the wording. It is. I'll give you a hint. There's one key phrase that's properly used, often cited from the Declaration of Independence, and it was in that American Declaration of Independence, but they left it out of the Texas Declaration of Independence. Read the people. Read the people. Okay, you get it. Y'all getting warmer. Y'all getting warmer.
Let him off the hook.
All right, I'll let you off the hook. All right. So the key difference was the line that said all men are created equal. So in the American Declaration of Independence, they lied to us. They said all men are created equal. Now in the Texas Declaration of Independence, they said we ain't even going to lie to y'all. We're not even going to lie to y'all and tell y'all that we all created equal. We're going to tell you straight up that we are not the same. So I'm going to read Section 6, 9, and 10 of the Texas Declaration of Independence, starting with Section 6. And it says, all free white persons who shall immigrate to this republic, and who shall, after a residence of 6 months, make oath before some competent authority that he intends to reside permanently in the same, and shall swear to support this Constitution, and that he will bear true allegiance to the Republic of Texas, shall be entitled to all the privileges of citizenship. So again, that first line in there, all free white persons. Now we move down to section 9. All persons of color who were slaves for life previous to their immigration to Texas, and who are now held in bondage, shall remain in the like state of servitude, provided the said slave shall be the bona fide property of the person so holding said slave as aforesaid. Congress shall pass no laws to prohibit immigrants from bringing their slaves into the Republic with them, and holding them by the same tenure by which such slaves were held in the United States. Nor shall Congress have power to emancipate slaves, nor shall any slaveholder be allowed to emancipate his or her slave or slaves without the consent of Congress, unless he or she shall send his or her slave or slaves without the limits of the Republic. No free person of African descent, either in whole or in part, shall be permitted to reside permanently in the Republic without the consent of Congress, and the importation or admission of Africans or Negroes into this Republic, excepting from the United States of America, is forever prohibited and declared to be piracy. So in other words, slavery was a permanent state, and in order for the slaveholders to free their slaves, they had to get permission from the government to do so. And then in section 10 it says, all persons, and this is in parentheses, Africans, the descendants of Africans, and Indians accepted, who were residing in Texas on the day of the Declaration of Independence, shall be considered citizens of the Republic and entitled to all the privileges of such. So all persons except Africans, descendants of Africans, and Indians. Now we have I don't know what's going on with immigration right now. There was a point where as long as you were born on this country, you were a citizen. But back then, they said, nope, even if you were born here, you're not a citizen. Now, General Order number 3. All right, so General Order number 3, as Brother Ka had mentioned and pointed out, Civil War officially ended in 1863. Or I'm sorry, in April of 1865. It was the Emancipation Proclamation that was put out in 1863. But in May, in Texas in May, they were continuing the fight. The Union soldiers and the Confederate soldiers, they were continuing the fight in 1865. In May of 1865. And the Confederates, they won the last battle on Texas soil on May 13th, which is the Battle of Palmetto Ranch near Brownsville, Texas. The Confederates surrendered in Galveston on June 2nd, 1865. And then General Gordon Granger came to Galveston from his post in Louisiana to take command of the American Army that was stationed in Texas, and to also deliver General Order number 3. About 2,000 soldiers came with General Granger, many of them black soldiers. And June 19th, 1865, this is where he delivered General Order number 3. Now there's different variations of history. Some say that he stood from his balcony of his living quarters and delivered the order. Others say that he sent out soldiers to strategic areas around Galveston to deliver General Order number 3. And General Order number 3 is what eventually would, people would celebrate as Freedom Day or Liberation Day, but we know that this really didn't free us. It put it on paper, but when we get into the numbers, we'll see that even with the numbers, we need to take our own freedom rather than waiting on someone to give it to us. Go to the next slide there, brother. Now, there were some rumblings about General Order Number 3 prior to June 19th. Some of our ancestors already heard the news and started celebrating the news. And of course, those Confederates, those white people in Texas, they didn't like that. They didn't like to see people celebrating because they thought they were free. So they acted with a lot of hostility towards black people in Texas during that time, violently beating them for celebrating their the freedom that they thought that they had. Also showing a lot of hostility towards the Union Army during that time, giving them a hard time. Texas was a very large state, still is a very large state. So it made it very challenging for the Union Army to really enforce this order, and also the Freedmen's Bureau, that federal agency that the federal government set up supposedly to assist not only the newly free, quote unquote, newly free black people, but also those poor white people too. So I wonder how much of those resources went to the newly free black people, and how much of those resources went to those poor white folks. Because we know how that happens now. We can even connect that to the conversation earlier about the Democrats and Republicans, about these initiatives that are supposed to be set up for quote unquote people of color. What's a person of color? But due to limited resources and the size of Texas, the large size of Texas, it made it very challenging to implement those initiatives. Now, I included this in there because this is addressing the hoax here from Dr. Oya Mayad, and she says, she just posted this the other day. She says, please stop referring to Juneteenth as quote unquote Freedom Day or a celebration of the end of slavery. It is neither. The general order read to our ancestors in Galveston did not grant them true freedom. It instructed them to remain on the plantations and work for wages, effectively ushering in the brutal system of sharecropping. This was not liberation, it was a rebranding of exploitation. And even this wasn't happening in a lot of instances. There were a lot of brothers and sisters working for free, not even working for wages.
Right.
And they were working for free under the threat of violence from these owners and slave owners. So slavery was still going on, even though that general order was announced to our ancestors. Furthermore, the black codes, bankruptcy laws, and convict leasing systems that followed were deliberately created to re-enslave black people through legal means, ensuring the continued economic and physical exploitation of black bodies. So they ran the okie doke on us. They put it on paper and said we were free, but they put the asterisks in there and the fine print in there. My business partner, DJ the Money Coach, he likes to say that the big print give it, the little print take it away.
That ain't true.
Yeah, man.
So the big print was General Order Number 3. The big print was the Emancipation Proclamation. The big print was the 13th Amendment, and that little print was under the condition of sharecropping, and if you committed a crime, you be convict leased.
That's right.
Still going on.
Still going on. That's right. Still going on.
People under conflict pleas today.
Mass incarceration.
Yes.
Mass incarceration. Yeah, and if you were caught congregating or hanging out outside and you weren't working or doing what you were supposed to, you could be picked up and brought to prison and re-enslaved through that method. All right, so Juneteenth should not be romanticized. It must be remembered as a moment in our long and ongoing struggle. Not a final chapter, but a turning point that reminds us how freedom has always been delayed, denied, and defined by systems of white power. All right, so with that being said, we're going to move up to the actual holiday of Juneteenth. So that was the history as far as the quote-unquote freeing of, or the announcement of freedom of the slaves in Texas. But now we're going to get into the holiday. So the holiday celebration, soon after the announcement, 1866, were the first celebrations of what was called Juneteenth. The word Juneteenth, however, wasn't used until the 1890s. But prior to that, some people call it Liberation Day, some people call it Jubilee Day, Manumission Day, various names. And we know that Juneteenth is a contraction of the word June and 19. So those two words put together. And those first celebrations, they started out in the churches and eventually moved to other spaces outside of the church. And another notable piece of history, Texas history, 4 black men, Richard Allen, Richard Brock, Elias Dibble, and Jack Yates, bought land in Houston, Texas, and created Emancipation Park in 1872. And since then, Juneteenth celebrations were happening there every year. And then it became a state holiday. Juneteenth became a state holiday in 1980 in Texas, and then a federal holiday in 2021. In other words, like Brother Kai said, when something becomes a federal holiday, it just means another opportunity for people to consume and give money right back to the white economic establishment, right? So that's all it was when you say federal holiday. And and then we talked about President Trump and him showing you up front who he is. On Juneteenth, he complained about us having too many holidays.
Right. He said he need to take it away. Too many.
Yeah, because a federal holiday means all these federal agencies are closed and people aren't working. The schools are closed. He needs us out on the plantation working,
And they're getting paid.
and they getting paid.
For those who do, it's a lot of companies that will still.
Yeah, I'm sure he's happy about them. Happy about those private corporations that aren't taking that holiday.
They don't all close and all federal. When I used to work on Wall Street, Columbus Day wasn't a holiday for us.
Oh no. Oh yeah, Wall Street.
Why would
Yeah.
it be? It's Columbus Day. Why would
No, I'm
it
talking
be?
about the corporation.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Why would it be? Because that's one of the biggest days of commercialism they've ever had. Selling people. That was.
Yeah.
That's Wall Street.
Columbus Day sales, Juneteenth sales.
Yes.
There's a sale for everything.
We never used to even close on Martin Luther King Day either.
Oh yeah, Martin Luther King Day sales.
We had to take a vacation day to get the day off.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's dirty. That's dirty.
Yeah, that's right.
Make you take a vacation day on a holiday.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
the company wasn't closing. Because how they go is based on the stock exchange. The stock exchange, because stock exchange doesn't close on all federal holidays. So that's how you know certain corporations. If the stock exchange is open, they open.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So a part of our Juneteenth celebrations are the flag, or is the flag. So the flag on the far left, I'm gonna blow it up on the next slide so you can see it close up. But we're all familiar with these flags in here.
Yeah.
The flag on the far left, that's the official Juneteenth flag that was created in 1997 by Ben Haight, who was the founder of the Juneteenth. What's the name of that organization? Let me go back over here. The founder of the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation. So the flag first created in 1997. This is the updated version that came out in 2000. And we're just going to talk about the symbolism that you see in the flag. You can go to the next slide, brother. All right, so first starting with the colors, red, white, and blue. Those colors were chosen to mirror the colors of the American flag, red, white, and blue, to remind our ancestors and the descendants that we were and are Americans. So that's why the colors were chosen. And then you see the arc here, the curved line between the red and the blue. The arc is supposed to be a horizon, and that symbolizes a new horizon of opportunities and promises ahead for the United States and its people. The internal star, the 5-pointed star, that's for Texas, the Lone Star State. And it's also supposed to represent not only the state, but the freedom of all black people in all 50 states. And then this burst that's around the star, that's in the symbol of a nova, shape of a nova. And in astronomy, a nova is referring to a new star. So you have a new star surrounding the Texas star, and the new star represents a new beginning for free people. So that's the symbolism of the Juneteenth flag. Go to the next slide.
Who designed that flag?
That first flag, Ben Haight, the founder of the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation. He designed that in 1997. All right, so we all know this flag. So we also see this flag being flown on Juneteenth. This is the Pan-African flag designed by Marcus Garvey, 1920. The red for the blood, the black for the people, the green for the land. Yep, the natural land, which is the wealth of Africa. So you see that flag. So you can go to the next one. Then you also see this flag, and this flag is similar to the red, black, and green flag, Marcus Garvey's red, black, and green flag, but it also has the yellow in there. And other Pan-African nations and movements outside of America, over in the continent, they use red, green, and yellow in their flag. So this flag incorporates the yellow to connect the Pan-African movement in America to the Pan-African movement around in the other African nations, such as Ethiopia, also the Rastafari movement as well. All right, so I'm going to take a pause here. So we're about halfway through, got through the history, getting ready to go into the numbers. So we'll take a few minute break if anybody needs to get up and stretch and go to the bathroom. I'm going to take a couple more sips of water, but we'll continue in about 5 minutes.
Thank you.